Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Prop Wiz. I'm your host, the Wiz. Okay, today is Tuesday, approximately 9:46, which means it's precisely 46 minutes since I hit the play button on the new episode of Ahsoka, episode 3. Yo, I'm still excited, man. Let me tell you why. Well, you already know why. If you've seen the first episode, it boiled down to 2 words, 1 name, Dave Filoni. He's doing it, man. He's doing the Star Wars thing. He already did it with Mandalorian. He did it with the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. And with this episode, he took it even to another level of Star Warsism, to its finest. So let's break it down. The first thing that I loved about this episode, which is the first thing I loved about the first 2 episodes, the visual effects. All the way throughout this episode, the visual effects were top notch. And I'll go more into detail with that in a second. But the episode started off strong. It started out with some training between Ahsoka and Sabine. So far, they're being realistic. I'm kind of nervous. It is a Disney Plus show. And mind you, I'm not even a Disney Plus show hater, but I have to be honest with you, I have to be honest with myself. They can be a little cheesy sometimes. So when I'm watching these training scenes, I'm kind of worried that Sabine is going to become a Jedi 1 episode or a few minutes in the first episode. And I'm glad to report that that didn't happen. I was glad to see it. It was very, very realistic. Along that same lines, man, one of the things that I was disappointed with some of the sequels, the last 3 specifically, was the lack of training between Rey and Luke Skywalker. Like, Rey goes to this island where Luke Skywalker is to be trained. They kind of showed her swinging the lightsaber a couple of scenes, but there was really no training, right? Like, I feel like she got absolutely nothing from that trip or even meeting Luke Skywalker. So fast forward to this episode of Ahsoka, the training between Sabine and Ahsoka to Sabine felt more and more realistic and what I came to expect, or what I was expecting from Rey and Luke Skywalker. Very, very reminiscent of what we got between Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and even a little bit of Yoda training Luke Skywalker. So I thought that was awesome, man. It made Ahsoka look like a master Jedi, which she is, and it just took the whole Jedi lore, the whole Jedi training, the whole Jedi thing, period, just more serious than some of the other things. And again, I feel like I always have to point out, dude, I love the sequels. I'm not a hater of the sequels. I actually like the sequels, but again, I have to be honest and realistic that they weren't perfect. A couple of things I disliked, and the training scene was one of them. To me, this kind of fixed it. Well, I can't say fixed it because they couldn't fix that movie, but it highlighted at least that Dave Filoni knows what he's doing. Okay, the second thing that I liked about this episode, that it highlighted some of the spaceship fight scenes that we're used to seeing even in the original Star Wars. This to me was very, very reminiscent of New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, aerial battles. Yo, starting out with even the ship designs. It seemed like all the bad guys had these old school World War I, World War II fighter planes, which, if you're into Star Wars, you know that that's what George Lucas was going for. Like, he actually had video footage of these old war dogfights and took those and kind of used them as schematics and storyboards for when they actually did the model fights. So again, the creators here are just showing how much they understand Star Wars, how much they love Star Wars. It's very, very subtle. It was one of those things where they didn't bite from the original Star Wars. It's kind of like they kind of took from what inspired the original Star Wars and put it here. And I felt like it was very, very organic, very, very Star Wars. Really, really dug what they were doing. On top of that technical part, dude, it was just awesome to see. It was some real, real cool spaceship battles. The third thing, which shouldn't even be a third thing to its own, it's probably part of the spaceship battles, was to have Ahsoka battle in space. Now, needless to say, this is somewhat of a spoiler review, but I'm not going to go into detail, just to say her little thing in space, super dope. All right, and the final thing that stood out that was real cool about this episode was the Purgil. I think they're called Purgil. Let me look it up. Purgils or Purgil. I call them space whales. The space whales that was in Rebels that disappeared with Thrawn and Ezra, that Ezra had some kind of connection to, were in this episode. So again, they're doing a real good job of connecting this Ahsoka series to the Rebel series, and it's really, really telling a story that I think is making sense if you're already a fan. And if you're not a fan, you're learning. It's not too fast. It's not dropping anything that you can't follow. It's just for those who have seen it, you're gonna know what's going on a little bit earlier. Dude, you know what? Actually, I'm forgetting. I said that was the final thing, but there was one other thing in the beginning too, where they had Hera talking to the senators. Very, very subtle, but I think it's real, real cool just to see the kind of politics. Hera is a general in this episode. Her talking to the senators, you kind of get an understanding of this old war general because she fought in the wars, and how these senators kind of look at what their position. Like they really feel like they're the warriors of the people right now. That the war is done. The generals, your time is respected. We honor your time, but your time is done. This is our time. Very subtle, but I thought that was cool. I love the politics. One thing I love about this show is it's more fun than anything. But I'm glad that I saw Andor. Andor to me was all politics and really not as much fun. But because I seen Andor, it's like the politics of this kind of reign clear. In fact, one of the senators, this main senator, of course, was in Andor, was in New Hope. So you even got that connection between Andor and Ahsoka. But anyway, that was the last little piece, man. The politics, the aerial battles, Jedi. We still got a little bit of lightsaber action in the craziest place. So I'm still feeling it, man. I think the show is awesome. So far, the acting is real cool. Professor Huyang, the robot, the droid that's in here, the architect droid, it's real cool seeing him. I think it was an episode, was it Rebels? I'm not sure if it was Rebels or Clone Wars, but there was an episode where he kind of showed the younglings how to create lightsabers. And of course, he made an appearance in Rebels, man. To see him in this with Ahsoka is just real dope, because you know all the history that this droid has, and he's adding to that element, this Jedi element of the show, man. But anyways, I could talk your ear off about it. The show was dope. Let me know what you guys think. If you already seen the episode, if you haven't seen the episode, why? If you did see it, like it, love it, don't love it, why not? Hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you're thinking. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you like the video, please hit that like button. And as always, I love you guys to death, and I'll check you out next time, all right? Peace.